Welcome back to Motivated with Meg. This is season 1, The Eating Experiment, where we toss out the food rules and explore how food and freedom connect. Today, our goal is to experiment with figuring out your personal food shopping routine so you can create a game plan that works best for you. This is not about meal prepping, although you could turn this into meal prepping if you want to. But this is more just about figuring out how to create a food shopping list and the best way to go about food shopping for you and your busy life. For a lot of people, it's hard to get to the grocery store. They don't have their list on them. They don't know what they need. They don't know how to create a list based off of the recipe they're going to cook for. And so that's really what this topic is all about. And the reason I really wanted to make this in a full podcast episode is because I think it's important. You know, for a lot of people, it's boring. It's as boring as budgeting, but it's also as important as budgeting. Think about it. You make a budget, and part of that budget has food in it, like food shopping budget. And then you don't really make a plan on how to spend that budgeted money. You just kind of spend it. Maybe you even overspend it in this category sometimes when it comes to food. And maybe overspending in this category leads to stress, and then you stress eat, creating an interesting cycle of not wanting to spend money on food, but eating more food out of stress and thus spending more money on food. And so, breathe. If that's you, just take a nice deep breath. No need to create a spiral out of that. That's not something we have to feel guilty or judge. We just want to look at it. Nowadays, there are so many new ways to shop for food. There are apps for food shopping lists that you can create. There are apps where you can choose a recipe and it tells you exactly what you need to get from the store. There are literally apps where it does that, and then you can order it at the store near your house and somebody will shop for you, right? So you can order food online and pick it up at the store. You can have food delivered from your house from the grocery store, or you can use a food meal delivery service or a meal kit. You can also eat out and save leftovers. There are so many ways to think about having food in your house more often that is healthy for you. So, you're prepared for hunger when it happens. And how you can do that works for your life. So whether you are a family of 4 and you're running around like crazy and you don't have time, or you are just somebody who just hates going to the grocery store and you don't want to have to walk up and down the aisles trying to find the food. Whatever it is, you don't have to do things and force yourself to do things that doesn't work for your life. There are so many ways to make this work for you now. So a quick story to talk about this and how you can make it work for you is to consider that your life is going to fluctuate. I have a friend of mine who does seasonal sales work. And so right now in the fall, it's the busiest time of year. Sometimes she drives over 100 miles a day, and she still needs to do computer work at night. So she's really hustling during this really busy season, and she would like to still eat at home whenever possible or brown bag it. She doesn't want to have to always eat out when she's driving around for work. But she's really busy, and so she doesn't have time to also then figure out what she's going to cook, go to the store food shop, and then cook the meal and then eat it. That takes a lot of time during her busy season. During her unbusy season, not the fall, she could do that. She has a lot of time. But during her busy season, she doesn't. And so you might need to look at different areas of your life because it does change. We have seasons in our lives. And so you might have different ways about cooking for yourself and food shopping depending on the season of your life that you're in. And so, we talked about this a little bit and we found a simple solution, which was to outsource, right? Since she didn't have time herself to go do these things, she needed to outsource it. And outsourcing can be costly. She couldn't just hire a personal chef to come in and cook for her. That's not in her budget. But we did find that the grocery store near her, Stop and Shop, has an app that lets you order your groceries online. Somebody in the store shops for them, and then you just park your car and somebody brings them and puts them in your trunk. I mean, does it get any easier than that? Yes, you still have to go home and cook for yourself, but does it get any, that's such a huge time saver. And that time saver was all she really needed. So because she didn't have to go and do all that extra food shopping stuff, now she had time to cook for herself at home. It was a game changer. We found this a couple of years ago, maybe 2019, 2020, probably around COVID was when we found this together. And she's been using it ever since. Even in her not busy season, this is now how she food shops. It just works perfect for her and she'd rather do it this way. It's not that she can't go to the store if she wants to, and she can if she wants to, and she does sometimes, but she's created a routine that just works for her. And now years later, she has a healthy eating routine at home because she knows that she doesn't need to go to the grocery store. She's not overwhelmed by going to the grocery store. She just has this routine of ordering the food she needs and going to pick it up. Not only that, but she's also able to take time, because now she has more time on her plate, to slow down even during her busy season and take breaks and feed herself, which is so important. Now, not every store does this, and the one near you might not, but it can help to look up your grocery store or grocery stores near you to see if they have an app. And some of those apps will have recipes, and they'll even have meal planning ideas. And then they might even have a breakdown of like, this is what you need to buy. And it might even tell you what aisle it is in the store, which is super helpful if you're going to go shopping for yourself. So use technology. It's there. Use AI, use ChatGPT to help you create, a meal plan if you need to. Let them know your schedule and see if plugging that into ChatGPT can give you a good meal plan for yourself versus following a cookie cutter meal plan that somebody else gave you. So that is just, one simple way that you can get better at food shopping for yourself so that you can cook at home more, right? If this is a barrier for you, then choosing a recipe and finding an app that works for you can be really helpful here. And I'm going to list some of those apps below this podcast so that you can try them out if you want to. No, I'm not affiliated with any of them. I don't get any kickback from any of them. I'm not going to say one works better than the other. It's truly about what works best for you. And if you're somebody who doesn't want to rely on an app, that's okay. Maybe you have recipe books at home, or you're going to use the internet and look up recipes, or you're going to follow a YouTube video. Most of these places will give you a breakdown of the ingredients you need. And then once you know the ingredients you need, it's all just about looking at your kitchen, going through your kitchen to see, hey, what ingredients do I already have on hand that I don't need to go buy? And then whatever's left over that you don't have on hand, that's what you need to go buy. And it's that simple. So we've covered finding apps that can help you with creating a food list and food shopping, finding apps and grocery stores that might even do the food shopping for you and deliver it to your car parked outside. And then there's also a food delivery option. So you can choose one of those meal kits that get delivered at your door, whether it's a meal kit that already has the food ready to just heat up and eat, or it's a meal kit that gives you all the ingredients you need and a card telling you how to cook the meal. And if you're somebody who's new to cooking and you want to get into cooking and you're nervous, I recommend one of these meal kits. Try it out for a month and just get in the kitchen and just use the ingredients they give you. You don't have to food shop. They already gave you the ingredients. Follow along with the instructions and make yourself some healthy meals just to get into the habit of cooking more. And don't overlook frozen options. Frozen food, while it can have a higher sodium, and we want to be aware of that, it can also be really helpful, especially produce. So freshly frozen fruits and vegetables are often frozen at their peak ripeness, meaning that they are full of their nutrients. And so when it comes to making smoothies, I almost never buy fresh fruit. I hate buying blueberries and then they're moldy in a day. It makes me angry. So I'll just buy wild frozen blueberries that are flash frozen at peak ripeness and I'll pop them in my smoothie. I don't have to worry about them going bad. I'm not wasting money on expensive berries that then get moldy on me and make me angry. I just go for the frozen stuff. So don't overlook the frozen section. And sometimes it's not even about cooking or a new recipe. It's about just getting you back into a lifestyle that works for you. I've worked with a client before that, we didn't need to experiment with anything. She knew what worked for her, and she just kind of fell out of it. Life got crazy. One of her parents had passed away. She'd moved. There was I think COVID happened too. It was like all this stuff at the exact same time. Everything everywhere all at once. And so she just fell out of her routine. And it wasn't about like reinventing the wheel. It was about motivating her to get back into what worked for her. And that was as simple as saying, choose one of your absolute favorite recipes for this time of year. And your goal is just to cook that this week. And just remember how much fun it is to cook that meal for yourself and how much you enjoy it. And then next week, do that again. Maybe the exact same meal. Maybe add in a second recipe. And we just slowly got her back into the kitchen. And then she took off like a lightning bolt and she was fine. And she was remotivated and she was good to go. But it was that need for a push, that little bit of accountability to get her there was what she needed during that time in her life. And so if that's you, then let this podcast be the fire under your butt to get back in the kitchen trying your favorite recipes. And I just want to shout out families. I don't have any kids myself, but I understand there are families out there, big families, and some families have a lot of picky eaters, and you're not trying to cook 5 meals, one for each person in the house. You're trying to cook one dinner and save yourself time, and that can feel impossible. And so keep in mind, that's where technology comes in. There are apps out there where you can put in filters that say like, okay, lactose-free, gluten-free, no shellfish, right? No peanuts. Let's say you have people in your family that have allergies too. And then it's going to give you recipes that fall into that criteria. And so maybe you can find a recipe that all 4 or 5 people in your family who are picky eaters will all enjoy, right? And sometimes that's not going to be possible, and that's okay. But it's just about trying to find resources and tools that can support your life, how it is right now, not how you wish it was, how it is right now, because that's what you need. You need support right now in this moment to get you where you want to go. And so no matter what your lifestyle is, there's a way to feed yourself and your family while living it and living in line with your values. And that's all we're trying to do with this experiment this week. So your experiment this week is to to look into these things for yourself. Either some of the apps I list below that you can try out for recipes and meal ideas, or try to find one yourself. Maybe connect with a registered dietitian. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Most health insurances let you speak to a registered dietitian for free or with a copay, and that person can then talk to you about your health issues and your nutritional needs, and then they can help you come up with a meal plan. They might have other resources as well that can be really helpful. And so in the end, just keep in mind that hunger is not going to go away, and the need to eat doesn't go away. It's part of life. We all need to eat. And so this episode is all about setting a foundation for the way you approach cooking and food shopping and creating food lists and eating in your life. You don't have to create an entire meal plan. You're allowed to be flexible. You're allowed to eat out. You're allowed to order in when it suits your life. You're allowed to trust yourself. It's okay to finish the meal and all the food on your plate, and it's okay to not finish it and save some for later. It's all just about doing your best to honor your bodily needs in that moment while enjoying life and what you're eating. All right, that's it for today's episode of Motivated with Meg. I can't wait to hear about your experiment with finding different apps and ways of creating food lists for yourself and choosing recipes. Super excited. If you have any of your favorite recipes that you want to share, I'd love to see what those are, and I'll share some of mine below as well. Until next time, be kind and be yourself. Everyone else is already taken.